Nearly one-third of Americans live in areas considered to have medium or high COVID-19 community levels right now. And if you're living in one of those regions, the director of the CDC says you should go back to masking indoors. Dr. F. Perry Wilson is an associate professor of medicine at Yale University. He joins us now. Doctor, it's great to have you here. My impression, tell me if it's yours, is that people are sort of resigned to it at this point. They don't want to mask up again because they feel like it's everywhere. And they feel like if they do get COVID, it'll probably just be a bad cold. And in any case, they'll survive. Is that wrong?
No, I think that's what I'm hearing on the ground as well. And you're right on several points. It is everywhere. The current caseload, about 100,000 cases a day, as reported by CDC, is a vast underestimate because probably 4 people are testing at home for every 1 person who gets a PCR test that gets reported. So we're probably talking about 500,000 cases per day right now in the US. That makes this another wave. This is the second Omicron wave. Tons of people have COVID. Masks do protect the person wearing the mask. And if we all wear masks, it can slow the rate of progression of the disease. It can slow the spread of the disease. But if you don't couple those mandates to an end game, what are we masking for? How long are we doing it? People aren't going to adopt it. And maybe that end game is getting more people boosted. Only 30% of Americans have been boosted. Maybe the end game is letting this wave die down. But if you're going to make a recommendation like that, the CDC has to give the off-ramp as well.
Dr. Wilson, I've heard something several times over the last couple of weeks. People who are trying to time that second booster, waiting for a surge, and then they'll time it to get the peak of protection, or they've got an international trip that they'll take it a couple of weeks before so that when they fly, they've got the best protection. I see your facial expression. Put that into words for me, people who are trying to plan these boosters for protection when they're back with crowds.
I think, yeah, it's like trying to time the stock market. You know, you can good luck, but more often than not, you're going to get burnt. I've heard that too. We're in the middle of a surge right now. So if you're waiting for cases to rise, we're there already. You should definitely get boosted. I appreciate that immunity wanes over time in terms of infection, in terms of the risk of being infected, but it's still quite protective against hospitalization and death. And trust me, those are the things you want to avoid. We will slow this epidemic down substantially. If people get their booster, you should just do it.
The last thing we need right now is monkeypox. But somehow there are now monkeypox cases in this country. So how concerned are you? How concerned should everybody listening be?
I wouldn't be too concerned. This is not COVID 2.0. Monkeypox is a very different virus. It does not spread well from human to human, which makes this outbreak a little bit interesting because most monkeypox outbreaks tend to be small clusters of very closely contacting individuals. So there's something interesting here, but we've got 1 case in the US essentially, and this is a virus we know a lot about, whereas SARS-CoV-2 was completely new, was really reinventing the wheel in terms of virology. Monkeypox, we know. I would be very surprised if this becomes a substantial threat. And of course, I should mention that we already have a vaccine in our back pocket for this. We also have therapeutics that will be quite effective for monkeypox if they are necessary.